Hi. I'd like to discuss a topic regarding the Hebrew Israelite movement, or those people who call themselves Hebrews or Black Hebrews and the like. Um, I saw three different videos over the internet. I will not be giving any of the names of the people or the website, but what was discussed. And the basic belief is that African Americans and blacks are descendants of the lost tribe of Israel, and that blacks from the Americas are all descendants of these people of the lost tribe. And the belief stems from, at least in part, a section in Deuteronomy in the Bible. That's Deuteronomy chapter 28. And a particular verse in this section is very provocative, and why they believe that it's pertaining to them. Okay, I'm going to read it. Let's see here. Okay, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fill with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed alway. Okay. And then another verse, let's see here, verse 41 says, Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. Yeah. So those two verses in particular is very provocative, and I guess it had them think that here African Americans and blacks throughout the Americas, um, bad things have happened to us and still is happening to us. And being oppressed, you want to try to find answers. Why is this happening? And reading that verse, some individuals have interpreted that as that it's pertaining to black people, and it's very interesting that idea. But I started thinking. I said, okay, besides that verse in Deuteronomy chapter 28, um, what other evidence uh, are there that that we could be descendants of the 10 lost tribes? Well, one concern I had is because, because how we were brought here, we really don't know what part of Africa we come from. There is a database online that has um, the voyages, the names of the ship, the captain's name, and how many people were aboard the ships, and what ports they left from Africa, and the port of arrival. And it's very interesting. It's a comprehensive list of blacks and Africans that came to the Americas as slaves. And so, even with that database, there's no names of individuals. Uh, not We might have been gathered at a particular port, along the water, the west coast of Africa, but it doesn't mean that we came from specific region, that a lot of the Africans were taken from the African interior and had to walk miles, many miles, to the coast areas to be then transported over to the Americas. And with these slave ships, I think I already mentioned that there's no names. They um, with, with, withheld that information, and sometimes even false names were given to people in case, uh, like the police squad, so to speak, of the ocean, stopped a slave ship and inquiring who they have on board, and oftentimes they gave like European names, first and last names, to try to disguise it, what they were, who they were bringing aboard. So without knowing a name and not knowing what countries from Africa that we came from and what tribes, we don't have original language. So with that, how are you then going to even trace your heritage? Okay, and even within the states, uh, black slaves were uh, separated from their families and and sent to other states. And again, with the once blacks had reached the Americas, that no names were oftentimes no name were given. Sometimes they just indicate the gender of the person and the approximate age. So again, this is cloaking our uh, true identity and our heritage. So with the Hebrew Israelite movement, or those people who believe that they have that Deuteronomy chapter 28 is referring to them, I ask myself, how do you deduct that it's pertaining to you specifically? Uh, Human history is always regarding a persecutor and a persecuted. Uh, I like the idea of saying, hey, we come from this heritage. But if it's not true, I wouldn't want to make up something and say that it is true. Okay? Uh, two, two of these individuals online that identify with the um, Black Hebrew movement uh, are preparing to leave with great numbers of other followers back to Israel. And my concern is that our zealousness as a people, as a black race, to want an identity and want to feel like we have a homeland, I don't want us to be fooled and leave believing that you have this heritage and going into another land that you've never been to. You know, I'm concerned about the safety over in that country, in Israel. A lot of blacks, there are not that many blacks there to my knowledge. You do have American blacks that are living there, and you have people from Ethiopia and other immigrants from Africa that are living in Israel. Um, some of the sentiment that I've heard about blacks living there, that uh, they they are marginalized and disliked in Israel. So my concern is that American groups, Black American groups, go into Lily, quiet. That's my little dog Lily. She's wants attention. Okay, my apology. My concern is that if we go to a place like Israel, it's very far away, and I'm concerned about our safety over there. That we have all the hopes of feeling like we're going to our homeland, And then once you get there, the harsh realities of being a minority there again, uh, outnumbered, and they have weapons, and what could happen to these people, Black Americans, who go there in hopes of finding a new freedom. So I think we should really know what we're getting ourselves into, and to really analyze and find out whether you are from that heritage or not. It's a beautiful heritage, the Bible and the ancients that are mentioned in there. But we have to be careful not in our zealousness as Black people or African people, what our true identity is, and we may never know what it is like other nationalities. But you know, there's a beautiful point that could be obtained. We may not know where we came from, but we know where we are. And from that point of knowing where you are, you have new roots that could grow even stronger than the old roots. And I think that is very powerful. So I think we have to be careful to don't believe everything that you hear over the internet, and that sometimes things are made to sound good, but is actually could be potentially harmful. So um, if people over the internet, if you know about, if you feel that you know for certain that we come from the lost tribes of Israel, that for them to share where that information is. It's just Deuteronomy 28. It's not enough to say definitively that yes, this is talking about us. Yes, some scripture verses in Deuteronomy is very provocative and would raise up the antennas of many people, Black Americans that read it. But we need to know for certain, uh, you know, what we get ourselves into, because some things could be a trap. Like all these things that are happening in the media, and people fighting each other in the United States, what do you call it, race riots, and people in desperation say, you know, I had enough. Let me leave and go to Israel, a homeland. So again, be careful and really know what your leaders are telling you, why they're telling you. Just because something sounds good doesn't mean that it's good for you. So be careful. I just can't stress that enough, that we're vulnerable, and in our vulnerability, we may make the wrong choice. So please make the right choice, and I would welcome your comments. Thank you.